Yo, so I'm back with another video for you, and this week I'm going to be talking about my assortment of vehicles, the fleet that I currently have. I'm going to start them with this one, the BMW S1000RR. So I'm kind of doing it a bit backwards because this is the latest vehicle that I've got. Yeah, this is the latest vehicle that I've got, and then I'll kind of go backwards in time, go that way. But basically, this is probably the most powerful vehicle that I actually have. Not as big engine as the car, which I'll get onto, but it's a 1000cc engine, and stock they will go 199 miles per hour.
Wasn't that delicious?
And this isn't stock, so I don't know what it is. I've never had it on a dyno before. But if you ride bikes, then you'll definitely know what this is. This is always like one of the best bikes, in my eyes and many other people's eyes, that you can get for on the road. It competes with the Ninja H2 and the Ducati Panigale, or whatever, however the fuck you pronounce it. One of the reasons I actually like this bike is because it's actually quite slim. For a 1000cc bike, I don't want something that is going to be mega bulky and not enable me to be able to filter and stuff through the traffic. But this is actually pretty slim. Come over here. See it from the top. The tank isn't that big. The fairings don't stick out too much, and it's got that sleek look as well as still being a 1000cc. I'm not going to turn it on in here, obviously, because this is in the living room. This is where it lives. And I'll explain why it lives in the living room in a minute. But essentially, it's because there's no more room in the garage.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
And we'll be going on to that bike there soon. Also, this is the most advanced bike that I currently own and have ever owned. I've never owned a bike that has different modes until this one. So when it got dropped off to me and I took it for the test ride, I obviously tried out these different modes, and it's got rain mode, it's got race mode, it's got slick mode, and then track mode. It's got basically 4 different modes. It comes with 3. It comes with sport, race, and rain mode. And then slick is for the track. Comes with them 3. To get the slick, you basically just plug one of the sensors up and then enables you to get to the slick mode, which takes off all restrictions. The other ones for the rain mode and stuff, it's just got more ABS. It's just got probably reduced power, etc., for different modes. But honestly, this bike is so fucking powerful that even in rain mode, it would blow pretty much every other vehicle off of the road completely. A top speed of 200 miles an hour stock without anything being done to it, and with rapid acceleration, absolutely insane acceleration, you would expect to be able to blow everything off the road. The exhaust is a KO exhaust, and it's loud as hell. With the baffle in, it is so loud. With the baffle out, it's like almost unbearable for me to ride. You'd be able to hear me coming from across the town. Pretty fucking ridiculous. Has got heated grips. Stubby levers as well, which is a nice little touch, and then LEDs. The tail tidy, everything is integrated into the tail tidy, so you've got the indicators and everything in that, so it just makes that super slick at the back. As you can see, this isn't a daily rider because it's expensive, basically. But let's move on to the next bike. Boom. So this is the second bike that I'm going to be going over, and second piece of arsenal in the gang. Essentially, this is a 2007 R6. Yes, it is a bit older. However, as you can see, it is the Rossi decals. Yeah, boy. Which is super rare. I think there's only literally about 10 of them in the UK. There's only 2 of them being sold from all of the sites that I've checked. And yeah, I managed to get this at a pretty good price. So this was brought straight after I'd done my test. But this was not my first super sport bike, and I'll get onto that a bit later on. So, passed the test, got this bike. This is the Rossi edition, as you can see here. Please excuse how dirty it is, because I've been riding it as a daily, and it's winter.
Dirty, shriveled, anemic little party.
I know it's absolutely covered in crap, but come closer, you can see the signature there. You can see covered in the 46. You can see his pattern here on the tank. All round. So this bike is absolutely brilliant. I've used this loads of times. I've put a lot of miles onto this bike, I absolutely love it. A lot of people end up taking pictures of it and stuff whenever I go places, which is really cool because I think that it's a really cool bike. It has got obviously a different end can on it, but it's a quiet end can. If I had the key, I would show you. In fact, I think I do. Yes, I do. So it's a really quiet end can on here, which makes it ideal for being a daily driver. Bearing in mind, this is a cold start. I haven't started this up at all today, and since about midday yesterday. First on the button. I hope this mic is working, then I can literally show you the sound of it. Come around to the front and have a look at it from the front. One of the reasons that I like this bike again, because I like that slick look, I don't think you would really be able to tell how old this bike is, because it looks a lot newer than what it actually is. If you follow me on Instagram, then you'll know that actually I did have a little slide on this the other day. The damage on it wasn't nowhere near as bad as what I thought it was going to be. If you come around this side, I'll actually show you the battle scar that I was left with. Considering the bike was sliding down the road away from me and sparking a lot, this is the biggest thing that I have, this battle scar, but I will get this sanded and painted soon. This sticker here, unfortunately, is covering up a little battle scar on the fairings, but apart from that, it actually survived pretty well. Do a quick rev before killing it off. It is literally so responsive. It does 0 to 60 in 2.7 seconds stock, which is absolutely insane. Best thing about this bike by far is the sheer acceleration. There is a reason why they say that this is the most aggressive 600cc bike on the market.
If he dies, he dies.
I haven't done too much stuff to this bike, to be honest with you. I didn't really want to pour loads of money into it. I wanted it to be something pretty cheap that I could just buy straight after my test and ride as a daily, which it has been for me. So obviously this can is an aftermarket can. I have got the original can in the garage, but I don't usually go for a bike that has a big can, but with it being bigger, it's more quieter, and it is carbon under there, if you can see past the filth. First mod that I done to the bike is actually put a flip and dip plate on there, obviously purely for the fact that then I can flip it up when I'm taking pictures and doing photography, not for any other reason at all.
The fuck you lying? Why you always lying?
And the only other mod what I believe I have done thus far is these slick indicators. So these were very chunky indicators that stuck out on the, oh look, yellow bee and a yellow bike. That just makes them look extremely more modern, basically, because them other ones were so chunky coming out here. These make it look a whole lot modern. So moving on to the next. Cool, boom, now we're back into the garage, and this is the reason as to why I have got the BMW S1000 in the living room, other than it looks like sick as fuck.
So good and tasty.
This big ass road quad takes up a lot of space. So when I've got the quad bike pushed back here, I'll get onto this in a second, and then I have the R6 in here next to the quad bike. There's literally no more room for anything else. So, boom, the quad bike. When did I get this? A few years ago I got this now. This quad bike, I believe, is a 350cc. No, it isn't a Raptor. It isn't a Yamaha Raptor, which is worth, I don't know, like 10 to 6 grand. This bike is probably about 3.5 grand, maybe 3 grand. It is a Japanese imported bike, but I absolutely love it because it's a low bike. It looks cool as fuck. If you come around here, you'll be able to see that it's got like alloys on it and it runs on coilovers, again being super low to the ground. These two twin exhausts at the back here, you don't have to come all the way around, but these two twin exhausts at the back here create a hell of a sound on this bike. Again, you've got my tag on the back, on the side here. I would start it up, but I currently disconnected the battery. It backfires like hell, and more than anything, it puts a smile on anyone's face. It doesn't matter if you're old, young, a dog or a cat, it basically makes you happy. And that is the reason that we have to just keep doing these things, basically, to bring happiness to the people. So, yeah, that was the next piece of my arsenal. And now on to the next. So these will only be a very small segment of the video. I have two little dirt bikes here. Clearly they're only like a little 50cc collection. And yes, it was getting pretty fucking warm getting these out because they were tucked away.
Might be too, might be.
These are awesome though. I have had a lot of fun on these. We used to take them out over the fields. You can imagine two grown actual people trying to ride these tiny little bikes, how funny that may have looked, like some sort of circus act. But yeah, we've got this red one with the fire, which has never let us down. And then this one here, this blue one and black, was actually a complete build from me and one of the boys. So we literally spent all night, I'm talking all fucking night, rebuilding this, because the first time that we went out on these pit bikes, or whatever you want to call them, mini dirt bikes, one of them, the chassis snapped in half and basically was absolutely fucked. So we had to rebuild this one from the ground up, which inevitably has had a lot of issues. Hence, this tiny little piece of rope on here, which you can still see a remnants of. What basically happened one time is we went out over the fields, we was absolutely miles away, and this bike kept choking out to the point where it now wouldn't start at all, and it was completely fucked.
Obviously, that's the perfect scenario.
So this bike, we used this bike to tow the other person on this bike, me, okay? Yes, that is a genuine true story. This tiny little 50cc this tiny little 50cc dirt bike actually towed another human being, probably about 90 kg at the time, on this bike for maybe 2 miles or some shit, because we were miles away from the car at this point. It was insane. Also, the tow rope that was used, if you go closer to that, you'll actually be able to see that it looks very familiar. It looks just like what your cord to a pair of shorts or to a pair of tracksuit bottoms is, because that's exactly what it was. My friend actually ripped out the cord from his tracksuit bottoms to attach to that, to attach to the back of this bike here on the chassis, and basically pull us the whole way back. So yeah, wicked little collection. On to the next. So this is the next piece in the equation, and this is still part of my arsenal of vehicles. Basically, my car, it's a 2-litre Audi A3 S-Line Quattro, all that good stuff. So 4-wheel, and it is actually a beast, to be honest with you. I have done stage 1 plus on it. It's about 300 brake. I have done a hell of a lot. This is probably the most that I've done to any of the vehicles. I've had the whole engine apart in pieces over a weekend and back together. I've done a full carbon clean myself. I've done all of the intake myself. I've done fuel pumps and basically everything. I've done everything on this car. It's an absolute beast. It's obviously got the red and black, got my own plate on there. Yeah, it's just, there's not really much else to say on this. This is just like a beastly car, and I've done a lot of miles in it. It's been many places, been up and down the country so many times I can't even count. I've put loads of miles on it. It's got over 200 miles on it now, and I think I brought it under 100k. So yeah, I've put over 100k miles on it. Pretty crazy. Boom, so this is the last piece of the puzzle, essentially. The last piece of the family, and it is a GSXR 600K3. Fuel injected, wicked bike, absolutely love it. And yes, I did manage to get this before actually passing my test. I know the side fairing is off now because I've been working on it. I've changed a whole heap of things. It was in storage for a little while. The side fairing is up here. The bike is absolutely immaculate, wicked condition. It sounds awesome. I will not start it up right now because, again, the same as the quad, the battery is off. But if you want to know how I actually managed to get this GSXR before I even passed my test, at the age of whatever I was, I don't know how old I even was at that time, but if you want to see that story, then watch the next video. I'll put it up here somewhere. But until next time, please hit the like button, subscribe, do all that good stuff, and make some gains. Boom.